a lot today. All right, so we're going to try and do two different sections here. So we're going to talk about rephrasing and reflecting, then we're going to do some role play based on that, and then we're going to come back and do some mirroring and matching, and talk about the disc profile, which is always fun to talk about. All right, well, hello everybody, happy Christmas week. That's exciting that you guys are all here, still grinding away, so that's great. So today we're going to talk a little bit about some psychology and kind of how we use some simple psychology to help us be able to understand our clients better. Okay, so I'm going to go through with Jack. Jack, are you on here? I can't see you. Are you here?
Yep. Yes, I am.
Nice. All right, so Jack and I are going to do a little rephrase and reflect. Okay, just give you kind of an example of what it looks like. Jack, me and my family really want to move down south to be closer to our extended family. Our whole extended family lives down south, and we're really excited to move down there. But we don't want to sell our house until our daughter graduates from college, right? Or graduates from high school, sorry. And so she graduates in June, and then we're headed down to Florida then, right? So yesterday we talked about, last week we talked about asking questions and how to kind of dig a little bit to get our clients to open up a little bit. But now we're talking about what we do once we get them to open up, right? How do we transition to the next question, and how do we help them understand that we understand? So I just told this story to Jack about wanting to move down south and wanting to be closer to our extended family. So Jack, take a stab at rephrasing and reflecting on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, Robin, that sounds exciting. So heading down south this June. Would you be heading out right at June?
Yep, June. Yep.
Awesome. Yeah. Again, that sounds great. That's exciting. Do you have some family down there?
Yeah, definitely do. Family in Florida. Love the family in Florida.
Awesome. Well, yeah, again, so yeah, really with reflecting, want to kind of pinpoint down an emotion and just, rephrase what they said. So yeah, headed down to Florida this June after your daughter graduates from high school. That's definitely really exciting. And then kind of head on to the next question.
So Jack did two things there. He rephrased what I said, and then he took a stab at labeling the emotion connected to it, right? So when we rephrase and reflect, that's basically what we're doing. So the first thing we're going to do is rephrase what was just said, and we don't want to repeat it. We want to rephrase it in our own words, right? So when we rephrase, we just so sounds like you want to move to Florida because that's where your family's at. That sounds great, right? And then you want to try and take a stab at what it is that they're feeling, right? And sometimes they'll state the emotion for you. Hey, we are excited to be moving. We are sad that our grandma passed, but we need to sell her home. We're happy to be downsizing. I don't want to take care of the yard anymore, right? So they'll state the emotion for you sometimes. That's the easy ones. But a lot of times they won't state the emotion. And so we need to kind of pick it out from what they were saying. And empathy is really key here. And really when we're trying to understand our clients, we're really turning our empathy lights on really, really hard. So this is active listening. And the other thing that's really helpful when you're doing this is to take notes. Okay, while someone's talking, take notes. I do it even when I'm in person. It's a little awkward, but I take notes because I want to be able to touch on what they say. And a lot of times it's easy to get lost, right? In a conversation. So if you are writing down what they're saying at all times, then you kind of get in a situation where you can really repeat it back to them in a way that makes them understand that that you're listening and that you care. And that's really, really important to communicate. Okay. So the two things that happen when you rephrase and reflect, we get to remind them of themselves and create a connection with them. But most importantly, they feel understood and seen, right? And that's really, doesn't matter which kind of client, your potential client you're talking to, whether this is an expired on the phone or your aunt who wants to buy a house. Like, everybody wants to be understood and seen. And this is just one of the tools that we use to help them do that. Okay. So, I mean, like, and people are like onions, right? And we have multiple layers of defense against, being taken advantage of, or, people pretending that they care about you, right? We all have that. And so as we rephrase and reflect over time, we really start to peel back the layers of the onion, right? And by the end, you get to have conversations about what's really going on in someone's life and why they're making this change to want to buy a house. Because buying a house almost is always associated with something really joyous or something really sad, almost all the time, right? And so you don't share that with strangers. You don't even share that with your friends sometimes, right? Like, what's really going on with you. But if we rephrase and reflect, we get to peel that onion back slowly, and they get to feel more and more comfortable so that they can share with us what's really going on. And that allows us to really perform what I think is like an act of love, right? Which is a high level of service when we're trying to help them with this move, this sell, this buy, this rent, whatever's going on in their lives. Does that make sense to everybody? Cool. All right. And just so you know, sometimes you're going to be wrong. You're going to label the emotion wrong. That's okay, right? They're going to correct you. And in general, they're going to relabel it for you. So it's still a step forward, even when you take a step back, right? So, hey, Dana, it sounds like you're really nervous about making this move, and actually, no, Robin, I'm actually really excited about this move. Oh, well, that's great. Moving, it's better to be excited than nervous, Dana, right? Or whatever, that you can now, it transitions into something good. So sometimes you'll get it wrong. It's okay. Don't be afraid to get it wrong, because even if you get it wrong, it's still a step forward. Okay, great. So just so you know, we don't always rephrase and reflect when we're asking questions. Sometimes it's too much to do it every time, right? Well, Dana, it sounds like you're having a tough day today. I can imagine how frustrating that is. And then I do it again and then do it again and do it again. It's going to become obvious that you're doing it. So we do it about half the time. And when we're not using that as a transition from question to question, we use these transition phrases, right? I hear you. That makes sense. I totally understand. I see where you're coming from. That's a good point. That's really tough. And sometimes people say things that are really hard. Like, every once in a while, someone will talk about a divorce or their parent dying or their loved one dying. And so I use this one a lot in that phrase. I don't even know what to say right now, right? Because it's not really a natural rephrase and reflect point. So that's kind of what we do to go from question to question, allowing them to understand that we're understanding them, that we hear them, that we see them. And then it allows us to go on to our next question as we move forward. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to practice a little bit. Okay, so we're going to rephrase and reflect back to each other in groups, and then we're going to come back here and meet after that. Now, Dana, were you able to get a third room with yourself? Did we figure out what was going on last time? Do you think you can do a third room, or do we want to do 2 rooms again?
So let's do 2 rooms for this time. That way I can bop in between both rooms. And then we can break out into 3 rooms the next time. How's that sound?
Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. So yeah, whenever you're ready, we can break into 2 rooms and we'll just try rephrasing and reflecting with each other.
All right, here we go, guys. So make sure you click the button to join your room.